My dear friends, tonight I want to give you permission to do something that the world has spent your entire life telling you never to do. Dare to think beyond limits. Yes, you heard that correctly. Not just stay positive, not only be hopeful, not simply wish for better days. I mean become completely convinced, without apology or doubt, about who you truly are and what already belongs to you. I know those words may sound unusual. Most people are taught that believing in something before seeing proof is foolish. Society often laughs at people who refuse to accept the limits placed in front of them. It tells dreamers to lower their expectations, to stay practical, to stay safe, and never reach beyond what looks possible. But history keeps revealing a different story. Every person who transformed their life was first misunderstood. The person with no money who believed wealth was already finding them. The person standing alone who believed they were already deeply loved. The creator who believed success belonged to them long before anyone noticed their work. Others called them unrealistic, yet they continued. They held on to a picture no one else could see, and over time, that picture slowly became their everyday life. This is why your inner belief matters more than your outer circumstances. Whatever identity you consistently accept inside yourself eventually begins showing up outside. So tonight, stop asking for permission from reality. Stop waiting for visible proof before you believe. Refuse to let today's conditions define tomorrow's possibilities. Imagine that your deepest desire is already yours. Live with that quiet certainty. Watch until your world slowly begins catching up. Stay with me because what comes next may completely change the way you see your own life. For years you were told that being realistic was the smartest path. Look at your bank account and accept what it says. Look at your relationship status and believe that's your story. Look at your current situation and assume it defines your future. It sounds responsible, but notice what it quietly does. Every time you repeat, "This is just how things are," you strengthen the same reality you wish would change. Every time you say, "I have to be practical," you hand your circumstances the authority to decide your future. Every time you convince yourself that you cannot believe in something until you see it, you shut the door on the very mindset that creates change. Your present reality is only the result of yesterday's repeated thoughts, choices, and assumptions. If you keep accepting it as permanent truth, tomorrow simply becomes another copy of today. Think about the people whose lives inspire you. Before anyone celebrated them, they carried an inner confidence that had no visible evidence. They believed in a future that nobody else could understand. Friends doubted them. Family questioned them. The world asked for proof they did not yet have. Still, they continued believing. That quiet certainty became the foundation of everything they later built. If you want a different life, you cannot keep thinking like the version of yourself that created the current one. Keep listening because this next idea connects everything together. Now let me explain exactly what I mean, because this is where many people misunderstand the message. I am not asking you to ignore your responsibilities. I am not telling you to pretend your bills disappear or your challenges are not real. Your current situation exists, and you can acknowledge it without allowing it to become your identity. Those are two very different things. You may see a small balance in your account, but that does not mean you are destined to struggle forever. You may be single today, but that does not mean you are difficult to love. You may be facing setbacks, but setbacks are not your name. Circumstances are temporary. Identity is a choice repeated every day. The biggest mistake people make is confusing where they are with who they are. They treat today's condition as a permanent label instead of a passing chapter. But every chapter eventually ends when the author decides to write something different. Your thoughts become that pen. Your assumptions become the ink. Your daily inner conversations quietly shape the direction of your future. This is why changing the story inside your mind is often the first visible step toward changing the story outside your window. And what happens next may surprise you even more, because your mind begins responding before your world does. The moment you choose a new identity, your attention starts changing. You notice opportunities that once seemed invisible. You speak with greater confidence. You carry yourself differently without forcing it. Small decisions become easier because they now match the person you believe yourself to be. People often think transformation begins with external success, but it usually starts with invisible shifts that nobody else notices. A different thought, a calmer reaction, a stronger belief, one confident decision after another. Slowly, those tiny changes build momentum until your outside world begins reflecting the person you already accepted within. Others may call it luck. Some may say everything suddenly worked out. But you know the deeper truth. The change started long before the results appeared. It began the moment you stopped asking your circumstances for permission to dream bigger. It started when you chose to believe that your future was greater than your present. So when doubt tries to return, remember this. Your current situation is only a snapshot, not the entire movie. Keep holding the picture of the life you want. Keep acting from the person you are becoming. Because reality has a remarkable way of catching up with unwavering belief. And trust me, the next part of this journey becomes even more powerful than what you've heard so far. You can clearly see that you have not reached your biggest dreams yet without believing you are incapable of achieving them. That space between your current situation and the person you choose to become is where your greatest power lives. The world tries to erase that space. It wants you to believe that your circumstances and your identity are exactly the same. It wants you to think that what you have today determines who you are forever. But that has never been true, and it never will be. You can carry the identity of a wealthy person while your bank account is still growing. You can carry the identity of someone deeply loved while your life feels quiet and lonely today. You can carry the identity of a successful person while your achievements are still waiting to be seen. Your identity always shapes your circumstances. Your circumstances should never define your identity. So when I encourage you to think beyond limits, I mean stop allowing temporary conditions to decide your inner truth. Stop using what your eyes see as the final answer about who you are. Stop giving so much authority to your current reality that you cannot imagine something greater. Have the courage to become the person the world has not recognized yet. Live as though your future has already arrived. Believe in yourself before the evidence appears. That is not pretending. That is not being careless. That is how real change begins. Stay with me, because the next idea may completely change the way you look at your own life. Here is something worth thinking about. Life does not argue with the identity you consistently accept. It does not stop and ask whether your belief matches today's circumstances. It does not compare your confidence with your bank balance, your relationship status, or your past mistakes. It simply responds to the state you continue living from. That is why this idea is so powerful. It is not about wishing, it is about choosing an identity and refusing to abandon it. If you continue believing you are financially free, your actions, choices, and opportunities begin moving in that direction. If you continue believing you are deeply loved, your attitude, confidence, and relationships begin reflecting that belief. If you continue believing you are successful, your daily decisions slowly build the future that matches that identity. Your past does not decide what is possible. Your background does not place limits on your future. Your previous disappointments do not have the final word unless you keep repeating them in your mind. The person you become is shaped by the story you tell yourself every single day. So why stay trapped inside small expectations? Why settle for ordinary thinking when extraordinary thinking requires the same amount of effort? Keep watching, because the next part is where everything starts coming together. Here is the simple practice that changes everything. Begin living from the feeling that it is already done. Not someday, not eventually, not when everything finally works out. Right now. Tell yourself, I already have it. I already am that person. If you desire financial freedom, spend a few moments each day feeling grateful as though it is already yours. Let your choices reflect confidence instead of fear. If you desire lasting love, move through the day with the calm confidence of someone already valued, already appreciated, already chosen. Do not chase the feeling. Carry the feeling with you. If you desire success, stand taller, speak with certainty, and carry yourself like someone who already belongs in the life you dream about. Let your habits match the future instead of your past. This is where many people stop. Their mind immediately says, but none of this is true yet. That voice has repeated the same message for years. It speaks from old experiences, not from future possibilities. Do not let that familiar voice pull you back again. Your future cannot be built with yesterday's thinking. The person you are becoming deserves a different conversation inside your own mind. And trust me, what comes next is even more powerful than this. Remember something important. You do not arrive at a new destination by constantly reminding yourself where you are standing today. You arrive there by becoming the version of yourself that already belongs in that future. Act from confidence instead of fear. Speak from certainty instead of doubt. Think from abundance instead of lack. Every day, your inner world quietly prepares your outer world. Another mistake many people make is believing they should only dream small because it feels safer. They ask for tiny improvements instead of complete transformation. They settle for slightly better results instead of the life they truly want. Then they wonder why everything changes so slowly. But your imagination is not limited unless you decide to limit it. If you are already choosing assumptions every single day, why choose small ones? Why settle for a little more when you can believe in a completely different future? Why accept an average version of happiness when you can picture a life filled with purpose, peace, and fulfillment? Thinking bigger does not require more energy than thinking smaller. The effort is exactly the same. The only difference is the destination. Stop negotiating with your potential. Stop asking whether your dreams are too large. There is no invisible ceiling placed above your future except the one created by your own beliefs. The possibilities before you are far greater than your current circumstances suggest. So choose the bigger vision. Hold on to it with confidence. Refuse to shrink it just because other people cannot see it yet. Because sometimes the life that feels impossible today becomes the very life that inspires everyone tomorrow. And in the next part, you'll discover why holding that vision consistently is what changes everything. Life simply reflects the identity you continue to claim. So why settle for anything small? Claim the biggest version of your future. Claim the life that sounds impossible to people who only believe what they can already see. Claim the version of yourself that might make old friends shake their heads because they cannot imagine you living that way yet. Sometimes the version that feels unbelievable to everyone else is the one that matches your true potential the most. Keep this thought close every single day because it can completely change the way you move through life. Your senses are not revealing the complete truth about who you are. They are only showing the results of old beliefs, old habits, and old ways of thinking. When your eyes notice a small bank balance, they are showing yesterday's thinking, not tomorrow's possibilities. When your eyes notice an empty home or a quiet evening, they are showing an old chapter, not your value or your ability to be deeply loved. When your circumstances seem far from the life you dream about, remember they are reporting where you have been, not where you are going. Your senses collect information, but they do not decide your identity. The moment you allow temporary evidence to tell you who you are, you hand away your greatest power. Stay with me, because the next idea explains why this matters more than most people realize. This is why believing in your future before seeing proof can actually become one of the smartest decisions you ever make. You stop allowing old evidence to control new possibilities. You begin defining yourself by the person you have chosen to become, instead of the circumstances you happen to be living through today. A financially confident person does not allow one difficult season to decide their identity. They understand that numbers can change, but they refuse to let temporary conditions become permanent labels. A deeply loved person does not let a lonely evening convince them they are unworthy of love. They know that being alone for a moment does not erase their value. A successful person does not allow one setback to rewrite their entire story. They learn, adjust, and continue moving forward because they know success is built through persistence, not perfection. As you begin changing your mindset, your senses may constantly present evidence that seems to challenge your new belief. That is completely normal. Do not argue with what you see. Do not waste energy fighting every circumstance. Simply refuse to let those circumstances define who you are. You decide your identity. Your senses only report today's picture, and they are often the last part of your experience to reflect the deeper changes happening inside you. Keep listening, because this is where so many people quietly give up. Many people become confident for a few minutes, then immediately abandon that confidence the moment they look at their current situation. They spend a short time imagining the future they want, but as soon as reality looks different, they return to their old identity. Then they wonder why nothing changes. The issue is not that life ignored them. The issue is that they stopped believing before the change had time to grow. Lasting transformation requires consistency. It asks you to remain committed even while the outside world appears unchanged. It asks you to keep choosing your new identity when everything around you seems to suggest otherwise. Yes, that can feel difficult. The visible world constantly demands your attention. It encourages you to react to every problem as though it will last forever. But you always have another choice. When you check your account and feel discouraged, remind yourself that today's numbers are temporary and your future is still being written. When loneliness appears, remember that one quiet moment does not define your worth or your future relationships. When an old fear returns, gently remind yourself that it belongs to an older version of you, not the person you are becoming. This repeated return to your chosen identity is where lasting change begins. And trust me, the next part may become your favorite habit. You may also notice something else. As you grow into this new way of thinking, not everyone around you will understand it. Some people may question your confidence. Others may tell you to lower your expectations or warn you not to dream too big. They may believe they are protecting you from disappointment, but often they are simply protecting the limits they have accepted for themselves. Every person carries beliefs about what is possible. Some believe they will always struggle. Others believe they never deserve more. Those beliefs shape their lives just as much as hopeful beliefs shape someone else's future. You do not have to argue with anyone. You do not need to convince the people around you. Let your results speak over time. Stay calm, stay respectful, keep moving forward with quiet confidence. One day, the same people who questioned your vision may call you fortunate without realizing you simply stayed committed long enough for your life to change. Before you fall asleep tonight, spend a few peaceful moments imagining yourself already living the life you desire. Feel the confidence, the gratitude, and the calm that naturally belong to that future version of you. Then, when morning comes, before reaching for your phone or thinking about yesterday's worries, return to that same feeling once again. Let it become the first thought that welcomes your day. Hold on to it for a few quiet moments. Those simple minutes repeated every day can slowly reshape the story you tell yourself and over time, the life you experience. Stay with that vision because what happens after consistent belief is often far greater than most people ever expect.